MTR, your secret recipe since 1924, presents A Kitchen Abroad.
Hi, I'm Sharn and welcome to MTR Presents A Kitchen Abroad. Whether you're abroad or in India, your children are your biggest priority. Motherhood is probably the biggest blessing we have. There's no superior love than that between the unconditional love that a mum has for her children. We're constantly striving to be perfect mums, which is an unrealistic goal. क्योंकि किसको पता कि perfection क्या है? But we try, and we try hard. Despite all the roles and the goals that we have within our limited time. Morning times can be really busy, trying to get the kids to school and getting organized for all the other things that we need to do during the day. Samir, my son, and Sanjana, my daughter, they always want something exciting and different on a school morning. That's where something quick and easy comes to my rescue. Come, let me share with you my little secret. So let me show you my little secret on how I create Sunday morning breakfast specials every day of the week. One of the things that I have in my cupboard always is MTR dosa mix. Not only do I like to have it on a Sunday, but I could have this every day. But my kids, with their Swad Desi Andaz Pardesi rule, will insist on having something special. So that special, I thought, let me create their favorite, but in an eggless way. I'm going to combine the MTR dosa mix with the MTR badam drink mix to create a yummy chocolate waffle that tastes like malpua. Malpua because of the real kesar and badam in the MTR badam drink mix. To make this waffle, we're going to use 1 cup of the MTR dosa mix, 1 cup of the MTR badam drink mix, 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder, 1 cup of low-fat yogurt, and some water. There's about 1 1/4 cups of water. And all we have to do is give it a good stir with a whisk. You know, my children have so many differences between them. They say no two kids are alike. But there's one thing that my kids do have in common. They actually chose their own special birth dates. That's right. They decided to choose when they will be born. My son came 3 weeks early on Valentine's Day. The lover boy. He hated being called a lover boy from the ages of 9 to about 15. Now that he's about 16, I think he's gonna enjoy the lover boy status. And my daughter, she chose her arrival too. I wanted to have a millennium baby, but she decided to come on New Year's Eve. And she loves the fact that the whole world celebrates her birthday. Well, their food tastes are pretty different too. So my daughter loves to have her chatpata khana, and she loves to eat it with her hand like me. My son, he likes his finger food, but a lot more Western style. But the one thing that they do have in common is that they love food. So my batter's ready. It's a good idea to let your batter sit for about 10 minutes whilst you switch on your waffle maker and allow it to heat up. Once you're ready, take a 1/2 cup and pour some batter into your waffle maker. And now we just wait for the waffle maker to let you know that it's ready. Oh, it's blinking. That means it's ready. Let's open and have a look. Yum! So just carefully take it off the hot plate onto your serving plate. So let's get some fruit onto this waffle. I'm going to put some nice strawberries and some blueberries and some bananas. And then, all kids love this. A little bit of whipped cream on top. And my Sunday special, chocolate waffles, are ready to be served. Welcome back. Today we're talking about children and how important the children are in our lives. But for our children, their friends are the most important part of their lives. How the day was at school all depends on how it went with their friends. In fact, their friendship circle is the most stressful aspect, even more than exams or studies. And these days, our kids are surrounded by virtual networks. The social network is their friend. So when their real friends come over, it's such a pleasure. I love it when they pop over after school. And I love to make them something really, really yummy. And I love to bake for them because the smell of baking is so warm and nurturing. It's like motherhood on a plate, especially when you have some really nice Indian spices added to the mix. I have a really special dish that I like to make when the kids come over. I love to make cheesy pops. The kids love it. With the craze of cake pops these days, they love having these treats. So let me show you how. In a bowl, I like to crumble by hand the paneer. And if the kids are home after school, this is a great way to get them to do it with you. They love getting their hands dirty. And every now and then, some of the paneer goes straight into the mouth. Isme kabhi-kabhi muscle power lagta hai, depending on how strong your paneer is. But make sure it's nicely crumbled because you don't want big bits in your cheesy pops. You want it nice and fine. So although I enjoy crumbling it with my hands, you don't have to do it with your hands. It might be faster if you actually put it into the blender and just give it a whiz. So once the paneer is to the texture that you want it, add your mozzarella cheese. There's about 125 grams of shredded mozzarella cheese here. And then you can use fresh vegetables that are chopped up finely, or you could use capsicum. I like to use a mixture of colored vegetables. So these are just 1 cup of frozen vegetables, which have been defrosted. So I get like traffic light colors, which is fun for the kids. There's orange, there's green, there's yellow, and they get a mixture of veggies into their system without knowing it. Then, this is where my Indian funda comes in. 1 cup of freshly chopped coriander, 1 green chili that I've chopped finely, but I've taken the seeds out so that the kids don't find it spicy, but they enjoy the flavor of the green chilies. It's so important to get the kids to actually enjoy a little bit of chili so that they get used to it. Then I've got about a teaspoon of shredded ginger. I like to shred the ginger instead of having chunks or pieces because again, the children don't really like the texture or too strong a flavor. This way, they get the perfect flavor. We have ajwain seeds. Now, ajwain seeds, we love having in our samosa pastry. So I have it in my filling. And it's something that we enjoy also in our paneer parathas. So the flavor is really yummy. You have to be careful though. You don't want too much because it can be too strong. So a pinch, which is about half a teaspoon, and the same amount of cracked black pepper, about half a teaspoon of salt, or as per your taste, and kasuri methi. This one I like to add in generously because when the kasuri methi is baking, it has the most amazing aroma. Mix everything up. You can use a spoon for this, or you can use your hand like I am. And then finally, what we want to do is make sure that the paneer comes together into a nice texture. So we add about 125 grams of cream cheese. You could also use ricotta cheese if you like. I'll use a spoon for this because it gets a little bit too messy. Now, this mixture that I'm mixing together here is actually enough to make quite a few pops because we only want the balls to be about that big. So you'll only be putting about a teaspoon of mixture into each bowl. And if you have leftover mixture, keep it in the fridge and you can use it to fill up your bread if you like. तो चलिए, हमारा पनीर मिक्सचर तैयार हो गया है. So now we're going to roll it up into a pastry. So instead of making a pastry at home, it's really easy to go to your freezer section in any supermarket and pick up some frozen short crust pastry. Be careful, don't get the phyllo pastry. The phyllo pastry tends to be very crumbly. The short crust pastry is almost like a samosa pastry, so it's really nice and crispy when you bake it. So simply defrost your pastry, and we're going to cut squares, or you can simply just cut your pastry into half and then into 3 sections like that. So from the one piece, I'm going to get about 6 balls. I pick up one piece of the pastry, take 1 teaspoon of mixture, roll it into a bowl, pick up my piece of pastry, put the ball mixture in the center, and roll up the edges. And then I simply make sure that I roll the ball back up into a shape. Try to remove all the creases. And again, you can get your children to do this. It's lots of fun. It's like playing with Play-Doh. You know, when you're living abroad, getting the kids to actually learn about the culture and the values, it's one of the most important things that we have to make an additional effort for. And we generally do that through music, dance, language. It's really important to connect with the children on their terms. So there's no point talking about what we think is right or wrong unless we connect it to their terms. So for example, when my kids have been learning dance, and I tell you they've learned from ballet to Bharatanatyam to Bhangra to Bollywood dance. There was once a stage where I was actually teaching Bhangra to the kids. And it was so important in teaching the steps to actually talk about it in what made sense to them. So we have this Bhangra step like this. Well, we used to call this Sixers because every kid knew about cricket. And then we had the horsey, giddy up horsey step. And then the kids would also have the chicken dance like this. But it was so cute to watch them all at it. And then the kids would go to Saturday school to try and learn Hindi. Well, there are some akshars in our Hindi language that they will never get their tongues around. For example, dh and bh and r. They'll always come back and say duh, which is kind of like duh, and b, like Baba Black Sheep. They never could understand what it is that we were trying to get their mouths to say. But there's one language my kids do know how to speak, and that is the language of food. अगर आपके पास छोटे बच्चे हैं तो आप छोटे वाले भी बना सकते हैं। पेस्ट्री को छोटा काटिए, और अगर बड़े बच्चे हैं तो पेस्ट्री को बड़ा काटिए। जब ट्रे भर गई तो ओवन में डाल दीजिए। And you can use up the mixture to use up the rest of the pastry, or if you have remaining mixture तो आप पराठे में डालिए, या आप ब्रेड में डाल के टोस्ट कीजिए, या आप मिक्सचर को ऐसे ही खाइए। Welcome back. Kids love to eat ice cream, and whether us mums like it or not, they're definitely going to eat ice cream. चाहे गर्मी हो या नहीं, वो आइसक्रीम तो ज़रूर खाएंगे, और उनके साथ साथ उनके grandparents को भी मज़ा आता है आइसक्रीम खाने में. So why not make something that's a little bit more healthy? Let's say lower in fat and lower in sugar, but still yummy to eat. So I'm going to show you how to make my easy mango ice cream. I love to make this ice cream. It's really yummy and really creamy. But you don't need any bulky ice cream machines, and you don't need to follow that cumbersome process of mix, freeze, remix. It's as easy as having a blender. So this is what I do. I take 1 can of low-fat evaporated milk. To this, I add half the quantity, which is 200 milliliters of non-fat milk. And now the fun begins. Mangoes. I love mangoes. The smell, the taste, the natural sweetness of mangoes. So puree your mangoes, about 1 cup's worth. So here's my mango, pureed mango, all goes into the blender. Now, I've got the creaminess, I've got the flavor, and I've got the sweetness. But because I'm not adding any extra sugar, I need to give it a little bit more of an oomph and flavor. To do that, I actually add a pinch of salt. Yes, a pinch of salt. When you're not using any additional sugar, a pinch of salt really helps to bring the natural sweetness of the fruit. A pinch of cinnamon powder, which is just a natural sweetener on its own. And a teaspoon or a capful of mango essence. If you don't have mango essence, just use vanilla essence. A pinch of elaichi powder. You know, 10 साल कैसे बीत जाते हैं पता ही नहीं लगता. बच्चे इतनी जल्दी बड़े हो जाते हैं. इनफैक्ट हम बूढ़े नहीं होते, लेकिन बच्चे ज़रूर जवान हो जाते हैं. When the kids were younger, I used to love getting them to cook with me. I would hand them a banana each and say, go ahead, mash your bananas for a banana cake. उसमें मुझे 5-10 मिनट मिल जाते थे मेरा बाकी किचन का काम करने के लिए. Once I turned around from my other kitchen work and I looked at my 2 monkeys. उन लोगों ने केले खा लिए थे. There was no mashed bananas left. We ended up having a plain cake instead. My kids always offer, can we help make the mango ice cream, Ma? You know what? I'm always scared that we might end up having plain ice cream. Let's go and blend this now. It doesn't take long to blend. Basically, after 1 whiz, everything is nicely mixed together. But I like to give it a mix for at least 2 minutes to get lots of air bubbles in. That way, I know that it'll be nice and creamy. The smell of mangoes. It's yum. So we're going to do the one big setting. When you fill your bowls, never fill all the way to the top because it'll explode in the freezer. So always fill about 3/4 full, and that way you'll make sure you have a clean freezer that doesn't have ice cream all over it. You can also use the icy pole molds with the icy pole sticks and set it in there. Close the lid securely. And we're off to the freezer. So when your ice cream's frozen, you can serve it up on a bed of mango, next to mango, or just on its own. Enjoy the natural sweetness of mango. So that's all we have time for today. But please do join us next week and do send me some messages. Try out the recipes. Send me a photo or 2 of your kids enjoying the recipes on sharn@akitchenabroad.com. Till then, be good. See you next week. And remember, your kids are going to grow up really fast. So make sure that you stay young forever.
MTR, your secret recipe since 1924, presents A Kitchen Abroad.